but the WNBA came in with Caitlin Clark this summer and business was back.
And that's the environment Caitlin Clark needs to excel at the highest level in the WNBA as a professional.
The winds of change sweep fiercely through the Indiana Fever, a cleansing fire, leaving no role untouched in their pursuit of something greater.
The Indiana Fever, they have fired everybody. Everybody. Their president, their general manager, and now their head coach, Christy Sides, gets bounced after just 2 seasons. This year, she gets Caitlin Clark, leads them to the playoffs. You know, they exit the playoffs after 2 games. It's not much of a playoff run. Fever, just a nonchalant little, hey, we've parted ways with head coach Christy Sides. This was kind of telegraphed, though, because there had been a report that came out earlier that Stephanie White, I think she was the head coach of some WNBA team, and she was leaving and had 3 candidates of destinations on her list, and the Indiana Fever were one of them. That came out last week, so no surprise it was telegraphed that the Fever were going to move on from Christy Sides.
The Fever's public statement left more questions than answers, a cryptic message cloaked in shadows, suggesting there's more unraveling within than they'd ever let on.
So the biggest update with the team is, of course, that Coach Christy Sides is fired. Now, the interesting part about the Indiana Fever's announcement of them firing Coach Christy Sides is the tweet that they put out. So they simply said, "We have parted ways with head coach Christy Sides." And they put up the tweet and they used a photo of her looking very focused in the game. Now, if you have been following basketball during the internet era, then you know that this isn't the typical way that teams announce that they have parted ways, that they have fired, that they have whatever with a coach, unless a coach has done something blatantly wrong to make it a bigger story. But from what we know with Coach Christy Sides, it didn't seem like there was any bad blood between her and players. It didn't seem like the team had locker room issues. It didn't seem like she broke any rules. So a lot of people were a little taken aback by this tweet, saying like that was kind of a cold way to announce that you fired your coach.
Half the WNBA benches emptied of their leaders, one dismissal after another. A recalibration or an exorcism of something deeper?
Early in the year, I was anti-Christy Sides. I wanted her gone. I thought she was in over her head. By the end of the year, I had kind of warmed up to her and was good and didn't think she needed to be fired. Clearly, the Fever have thought otherwise, and clearly something's going on in the WNBA. I think half their coaches have been fired. And so the WNBA is recognizing they're at an inflection point and they're trying to level up, it seems like, with all of their staff. And it certainly seems to be going on with the Indiana Fever, that, hey, they got a great opportunity to level up here in terms of president, general manager, and head coach. And they're taking that opportunity. It's what the WNBA needs to do. This head coaching decision, I think, is critical. If they go after Lisa Bluter, the Iowa coach, who retired just 2-3 months ago or 4 months ago after this past season, and she went to a lot of Indiana Fever games. This is Caitlin Clark's longtime college basketball coach. Love to see the Indiana Fever hire her. Would be good if they hired this Stephanie White, because she's had some success. She's worked for the Fever before. She's a former player. I think maybe she played at Purdue or IU. At one point, she was involved with the Fever organization. I do think both of these women have better resumes than Christy Sides. And I'm just going to keep it 1,000% real. Why I want Lisa Bluter.
As Christy Sides leaves, whispers echo that not all issues can be solved from the sidelines. Sometimes, it's a fracture within that drives a team to the brink.
The way that the Indiana Fever parted ways with Coach Christy Sides had a lot of people wondering what was really going on behind the scenes in the Indiana Fever locker room, like what was really going on. Now, Christy Sides also tweeted out shortly after the announcement was made, and she said, "Leave it better than you found it," which was also kind of cryptic. Christy Sides isn't really too active on social media, so this was a rare post from her, but maybe she was blindsided by this news. Maybe she thought that she would be returning. Maybe she thought that she did a great job from the team. Now, me personally, I was never as much of a Christy Sides hater as I feel like a lot of people were. I feel like she was put in a tough situation and she needed to rise to that occasion. And I think that she did better as the year went on. I like what she did with the girls on her team. I feel like they all got along. I feel like that was a challenge in itself to be able to lift the morale of that team and make sure that team chemistry was good. It seemed like that team had a fun time. It seemed like they got along with her, but again, we will never know what is going on in the locker room. The criticism that I do have of Christy Sides was the calls that she made towards the end of games. I feel like a lot of times there were many Indiana Fever games that I felt like were very winnable, and there were questionable decisions made for offenses, for defenses, for play calls, for who should take that final shot. That happened plenty of times throughout the year that could have been the blame could have been put on the coach in those situations, and I think should have been put on the coach. Now, a lot of people, like I said, are going on and on about Coach Stephanie White. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know everything about her. I know her full backstory. I've been watching her because I haven't. I've heard that she's a great coach. She's also from the Midwest. She does want to be closer to home. So maybe it's a good fit, but I think that this is something that Caitlin Clark is going to be involved in this decision. I think Aaliyah Boston is going to be involved in this decision as to who they hire as their next head coach. And they do have quite a bit of time.
Christy Sides couldn't solve the alchemy of cohesion, the delicate art of transforming players into warriors united. Now, she too is a casualty.
When I look at Christy Sides getting fired and I look at the organization running out their leadership, it screams to me, Nylisa Smith, the power forward that played for them, that has this ongoing relationship with Dejanay Carrington, seems like she was a problem all year. And that Christy Sides and the organization couldn't get their arms around it, couldn't fix that problem. Caitlin Clark, if you go look at that Iowa atmosphere that brought out the best in her in college basketball, it was an atmosphere that was very supportive of heterosexual female athletes. I'm not saying it wasn't hostile towards the other side, but that was a feminine, heterosexual atmosphere they had going on in Iowa, and that's the environment Caitlin Clark needs to excel at the highest level in the WNBA as a professional.
Look, people actually do pay attention to Angel Reese. Angel Reese has built her stuff into little dudes getting excited, and then when they see her in person, they're like, oh, I can't tell you how many people have said that to me in the Chicago area. Oh. Anyway, long story short, this is what they're selling. My question is this: what about all the money you've lost? Where's that coming from? Where's that payback? I keep saying it because it keeps being the only thing that really matters to me.
Behind these headlines, a reimagined WNBA emerges, one that knows its worth, fueled not by legacy, but by a desire for the radical reformation of what once was.
Hey, look, your league is taking off. The finals ratings were far better than anybody imagined without Caitlin Clark. Even during the even during the football season, college and pro, people were astounded. There is a report that the finals game was over 2 million viewers, which is great. Absolutely great. I hope it makes money. I want it to make money. It certainly made money for downtown Indianapolis, a city that is still feeling the effects of the idiots that in the summer of love, how ridiculous is that, burned the entire place down. Buildings were lost, small businesses gone, and we have a mayor who is too inept to understand and too politically invested in idiots to understand and build it back. But the WNBA came in with Caitlin Clark this summer and business was back. People were at bars, restaurants. Place was packed. The area around Gainbridge Fieldhouse, fantastic. So yes, the economic impact is strong here. I wonder if it even matters in Las Vegas. I wonder if it even matters in New York. I don't know. But I always go back to this. I like when workers get what they have earned. But have the women of the WNBA really earned it? I mean, if we go by a normal business model, a business that has lost millions a year for 28 years, most recently 40 million, would probably shut down.